than one floor, and I use that term loosely. We then attempted to cut power to the nearest fluorescent light fixture, a standard troffer. However, we were unable to isolate the power source, and the conduit remained live, despite the absence of any visible external power supply. The source of electrical current remains unknown at this time. Using an insulated toolkit, we carefully isolated the light fixture from its electrical conduit, extracted the troffer from the ceiling, and transported it back inside, back to standard for analysis. And they added a 0.5 meter sample of conduit was also taken, with all exposed wiring safely secured afterwards in the ceiling. So the ceiling tile extracted measures 1.27 meters by 1.14 meters, which is certainly not standard, but it's composed primarily of mineral fiber. It seems normal in composition, has a fissured texture with mild tegular edges. So just after initial analysis, the composition of the tile estimated is around 60% mineral wool, which is fibers of amorphous silicate, usually derived from, I think it's basalt or slag, around 20% expanded perlite, which is primarily of silicon dioxide and aluminium oxide, and the rest is a undefined mixture of silicate material, some starch, latex polymers, and some organic fibers derived from plant materials, recycled cellulose, really. But the light troffer housing is made of galvanized steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. Inside, the fluorescent bulbs are non-standard in proportion, most closely resembling T12 bulbs. So the 4 bulbs measure 1.2 meters in length with a diameter of 38.1 millimeters. We're extrapolating here at 51, but that bulb and lasers and the rest contain the following components. Phosphor coating, the calcium hemiphosphate for converting ultraviolet light to visible light, mercury vapor in a small quantity which facilitates the ultraviolet light emission, argon gas, and again this is all standard for these fluorescent bulbs, but that's an inert gas that assists with regulating the current and really starting the bulbs, and they are connected via a G13 base, which is a standard 2-pin base with 13 millimeter spacing for electrical connection. So the wiring connected to the fixture is PVC insulated copper, which appears standard again. The prismatic diffuser over the bulbs is made of polymethyl methacrylate, which is again commonly used for its light diffusion properties. I mean, it's what we have in the building here, very standard. But we also inspected the ballast, which is of the electromagnetic type. There's some variation in how they're being manufactured now. This one contains a laminated steel core and copper windings designed to operate at 60 hertz. So the ballast emits a prominent 120 hertz hum. This seems to be the case for the majority, if not all, of the lights in the complex that we've assessed thus far, mostly just through simple curing. But this is due to magnetostriction and core vibration. But the noise may be exacerbated by loose lamination plates or degradation of the insulating potting material over time. So it's definitely an indication that this has been running for a little bit. I mean, despite its age, the ballast is functional. Its large proportions suggest it was built for a non-standard space, not something you find in the majority of offices or most commercial spaces, though that's not something I'm too familiar with, truthfully. Now, we did find, so material compositions all seem expected, or we don't know what to expect here. They seem, everything we've looked at so far, again, this is rudimentary early testing, but everything seems pretty congruent with what you might expect from one of the troffer lights you could pull out of the ceiling in this building right here. So nothing too strange, but that maybe makes things even stranger, because we look at these lights and let me see. So several labels were marked on various components of the troffer. on the ballast, we found markings for mark it as a universal ballast, Type A, manufactured in 1975 with serial number A75234X. The dropper itself is stamped 3X432, and that was manufactured in 1973 in Reading, Pennsylvania, and it is UL listed. Now the bulbs were manufactured by Sylvania, and they're marked F40SW, that's soft white, with no visible date information. It's left blank, but it is noted as made in the USA. So, I mean, though outdated in design, the fixture appears fully functional. The stable operation of all light fixtures in the subdivision points to a continuous, potentially autonomous power source, which still remains unidentified. We're doing what we can. The materials used are durable with minimal visible wear, suggesting they were built for long-term, possibly indefinite use. So this concludes the initial findings. Further investigation is necessary to determine the source of